At 1:42 a.m., the call came in. A man's voice, calm, controlled, almost rehearsed. "My wife fell," he said. "She's at the bottom of the stairs. She's not breathing." Officers arrived at the Carter residence in Franklin, Tennessee within 7 minutes. The house lights were on. The alarm system was disarmed. The front door was unlocked. 36-year-old Natalie Carter lay at the base of the staircase. Her husband, Daniel Carter, stood nearby, barefoot, pale, repeating the same explanation. She must have slipped. At first, it appeared to be a tragic accident. But within days, investigators would uncover something small. A single contradiction. A detail so minor it almost went unnoticed. And that detail would unravel everything. This is whispered crime. Natalie Carter was 36 years old. A marketing director for a regional healthcare company. Organized, driven, thoughtful. Friends described her as the kind of person who color-coded her calendar and still made time to check on everyone else. She and Daniel had been married for 9 years. They had 2 children. They lived in a quiet subdivision where neighbors waved from driveways. Natalie's routine was steady. Morning workouts, school drop-offs, work calls, family dinners. She recently started talking about launching her own consulting firm, a long-term goal she had quietly saved toward for years. But in the months leading up to her death, something shifted. Natalie had told a close friend, "I feel like something's off." She didn't elaborate, but she said it more than once. And then came October 14th. Daniel Carter worked in commercial real estate. Confident, strategic, calculated. Friends described him as charismatic but increasingly distant. Financial records later revealed mounting pressure. Nearly $75,000 in personal investment losses. High-interest loans. 2 credit cards maxed out. Natalie, according to her sister, had recently insisted they sit down and review their finances. She said she felt like she didn't have the full picture, her sister recalled. There were also subtle behavioral shifts. Daniel had begun sleeping downstairs more often. He became protective of his phone. He took late-night calls outside. 3 weeks before Natalie's death, a neighbor overheard raised voices during an argument in the driveway. No one reported anything serious, but tension was there. Quiet, building. October 14th unfolded normally. 6:15 p.m. Family dinner. 7:40 p.m. Natalie posts a photo on social media. 9:12 p.m. Text message to her sister. "We need to talk tomorrow." 10:03 p.m. Phone connects to home Wi-Fi upstairs. 10:27 p.m. Home security system set to stay mode. 11:14 p.m. Upstairs hallway lights manually activated. 11:18 p.m. Motion sensor detects activity near staircase. 1:42 a.m. 911 call placed. According to Daniel, he had fallen asleep on the couch around 10:30 p.m. He claimed he woke at 1:30 a.m., went upstairs, and discovered Natalie at the bottom of the stairs. Initial police assumption: accidental fall. But something didn't sit right. During the first interview, Daniel stated clearly, "I never went upstairs until I found her." But smart home logs told a different story. At 11:14 p.m., the upstairs hallway light was turned on manually. At 11:16 p.m., the thermostat was adjusted from 72 to 68 degrees. Both actions required physical presence upstairs. When confronted, Daniel paused. He adjusted his statement. "Oh, maybe I went up briefly. I don't remember." That was the first crack in the story. A small shift. But truth doesn't shift. Detectives subpoenaed phone records. At 9:57 p.m., Daniel sent a text to a contact labeled M. "Soon. I promise." Deleted within 5 minutes. Recovered through forensic extraction. M was not a business associate. It was another woman. Phone records revealed weeks of late-night communication. Cell tower triangulation placed Daniel's phone inside the house at 11:14 p.m. The same time the hallway light activated. Security camera footage from across the street showed no outside vehicles arriving or leaving. Financial tracing revealed a recent increase in Natalie's life insurance policy. Daniel was the sole beneficiary. Search history analysis uncovered something else. 3 days before the incident, Daniel searched. Do smart home logs record manual overrides? The metadata timestamp confirmed the search occurred at 2:13 a.m. Evidence. Explanation. Implication. Each layer tightened the timeline. A neighbor reported hearing a thud around 11:20 p.m. Not at 1:30 a.m. Natalie's coworker told detectives she had confided concerns about financial transparency. Her sister revealed Natalie had planned to meet a financial advisor the following week. The children were asleep during the time investigators believe the incident occurred. One detail stood out. Natalie's smartwatch recorded elevated heart rate data at 11:17 p.m., then sudden inactivity. Digital devices often tell stories people don't. During the third interview, detectives presented the evidence sequentially. The deleted text, the hallway light, the thermostat adjustment, the 11:20 p.m. thud, the smartwatch data. Why did you say you never went upstairs? Daniel's breathing slowed. I didn't remember. Investigators observed subtle cues. Increased blinking, jaw tension, delayed responses. When asked about M, he minimized the relationship. It wasn't serious. Detectives shifted tone. Calm. Direct. Why research smart home logs? Silence. Interrogation technique often relies on presenting evidence slowly, allowing contradictions to surface naturally. Daniel's timeline continued to adjust. That inconsistency became central. Defense attorneys later proposed several possibilities. Accident theory. Natalie could have slipped, but stair railings showed no disturbance consistent with a sudden fall. Random intruder theory, but security logs showed no door or window breaches. Misinterpreted digital evidence theory. Perhaps the logs were inaccurate. Experts testified smart home systems log manual commands with timestamp precision. Each alternative theory collapsed under scrutiny. The contradictions remained. The turning point came from one overlooked detail. Natalie's phone. It had been placed carefully on the nightstand, charging. But at 11:19 p.m., it attempted to unlock using face recognition. The attempt failed. It wasn't Natalie. Daniel had told police he never touched her phone. But the biometric data said otherwise. Short, precise, unavoidable. The timeline no longer held. Local headlines read, Franklin mother's death under investigation. Social media speculation intensified. Community members held a candlelight vigil outside the Carter home. Natalie's workplace issued a statement praising her leadership. Parents at the children's school expressed shock. The case divided the neighborhood. Some believed it was tragic coincidence. Others sensed something deeper. The prosecution focused on digital contradictions, smart home logs, search history, deleted messages, biometric phone data. Expert witnesses explained how metadata cannot fabricate manual actions. The defense argued circumstantial interpretation. They emphasized the absence of eyewitnesses. Cross-examination focused on log accuracy. But prosecutors returned to a simple premise. If it was an accident, why lie? That question echoed through closing arguments. After 8 hours of deliberation, the jury returned a verdict. Guilty of second-degree murder. Daniel Carter was sentenced to 35 years in state prison. Natalie's family established a financial transparency awareness initiative. Her children moved in with relatives. The Carter home was sold. Smart home security awareness campaigns increased locally. But lingering questions remain. Was the confrontation about money? About the affair? About control? Some answers may never be fully known. At 1:42 a.m., a husband called for help. But the truth had already begun unraveling at 11:14 p.m. Sometimes cases are solved by DNA, sometimes by confession, and sometimes they're solved by contradiction. Because when a story fractures, the truth finds its way through. This is whispered crime, where every whisper hides a truth.